Hi, Jim Cross, Pacific Northwest Kayaks. Today we've got Michael Phillips with us. Michael is a angler here in the Pacific Northwest. He's from Idaho. This guy is on top of his game. I fished with him now for a couple of years, and Mike has always been a tough competitor. Mike, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself, and we'll get into some questions after that.
Well, I appreciate you having me, Jim. Like you said, I live up in Idaho, Clark Fork, basically on the shores of Lake Pend Oreille. Get out there quite a bit, doing a lot of fishing, and it's been a real pleasure fishing with Yak Bass in Pacific Northwest this year. Did a really fine job for us.
Well, we appreciate that. We appreciate that. Now, getting into our questions, Mike, what's your earliest memory, that your actual memory of you fishing, and who was with you then?
Well, it goes back a ways, probably before most people watching this were born. But back in East Tennessee, fishing on some of the lakes there with my papa and my dad, just fishing for bluegill and panfish. That's how I got my start. That's my earliest memories.
Well, what got you into kayak fishing? I mean, that's totally different from bank fishing or boat fishing.
Well, when I was in the military, they sent me to Alaska and ended up doing a bunch of kayaking in Alaska. Spent years up there exploring the Prince William Sound and kayaking. Up there we fished for salmon and trout and grayling and halibut out of our kayaks. But I really missed the pan fishing, the freshwater fishing, you know. I wanted to get back down here. When we moved to Idaho, brought my kayaks, and of course we immediately started bass fishing for everything that, you know, the smallmouth, the largemouth.
Well, what got you, that brings me into my next question. What got you into the tournament fishing scene?
Well, you know, it was just a natural extension. A lot of people that aren't in my circle don't know this, but I've been a competitive shooter for about 20 years now.
Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, cowboy action shooting, it's a family sport, pretty competitive. I was fortunate enough to do pretty well at that. I actually won 4 national championships and 3 world championships doing that.
So you're a winner anyway.
and I decided that I would back off my schedule on that, and started looking around. I was already kayak fishing, so you know, the kayak bass tournaments ended up just being another outlet for the competitive juices. And
well, what brand of kayak do you?
I fish out of a Bonafide Ss 127.
How did you come about getting in the Bonafide product?
Well, I was fishing out of a sit inside, and I was really looking for a sit on top, something, you know, that was stable, that you could stand up and fish out of, something that lots of room, a good fishing platform. And so when the Bonafides were announced, man, I just fell in love with them right away. And I had one of the first ones up here. I ordered it and got it up here right after they were introduced.
Now, you have a unique relationship with that brand.
I do. You know, I was so thrilled with that boat when I got it and started fishing out of it, and had a few conversations with Luther Cyphers, who is the owner of Bonafide and Yakattack.
Right.
And we had a few conversations, and he invited me to apply for the team. So I sent in an application, and Luther and then Greg Timmer and Justin Floyd brought me onto the team as a regional team member.
That's awesome.
And got a great relationship with them. It's a wonderful team. Our team manager now is Dave Omer, and he does a great job keeping the team on track, and really an honor to fish for him, really.
All right, well, tell us about how you feel about being an ambassador for them, and what it's brought into your life.
Well, it's an honor to fish for them, really, and being an ambassador for a brand, basically what I have to do is make sure that I represent them in a professional manner on the water. I always try to make sure I keep a social media presence. You know, I've got an Instagram page is Mike Phillips Fishing. I've got a Facebook page called Panhandle Angler, and both of those I try to make sure that I'm tagging them, hashtagging them. You know, making sure that they get
keeping them out there,
keeping them in front of the public. Like I said, being as professional as I can, keeping my equipment clean and
that's awesome,
in tip-top shape, and just getting the word out. They, you know, one of the reasons they brought me on the teams because they needed some representation here in the Northwest, and I try to do that. Try my best to do that.
Well, you know, we've talked to them recently about starting to carry their product with us. Due to their backlog of people wanting their products, they're not for sure when they can get them out.
They're running full speed trying to get caught up just with the current orders for their dealers, you know,
and that's what they had told us. Once they catch up with those current orders that they have for their dealers and the public, then they'll be looking at bringing on other dealers then, and which you can't blame them. If you don't have a product, you don't need another dealer.
Right. Well, we could sure use a dealer up here in the Northwest. I mean, it's as it is now, you know, you have to order one and have it shipped, and it's a big deal trying to get one up here.
Exactly. It's a great product.
Now let's check out the Bonafide Ss 127.
So up front here, you can see I used the Yakattack leverage landing net. Really a strong net, a lot of leverage for landing those big ones. It's a great product from a great company. Moving over to my dry pod, you can see that I use Garmin electronics. Have those mounted on my dry pod. My battery box is up in the front hatch, and I used Yakattack through-hole attachments for a real clean installation on that. You can see I have a couple of the Yakattack cup holders on there, one for a drink and one to catch tackle and any other miscellaneous stuff I have laying around. Big live well in the back where I'll have a Yakattack black pack. I have the Bonafide sling blade rudder system on the back, which really helps with the tracking and the steering on this boat. A lot of gear track along the boat so you can attach any accessories you might want or need. Here you can see the Bonafide Seat. It's a very, very comfortable seat, like sitting in a lawn chair all day. I've had some 10, 12, 14-hour fishing days in that seat. It's adjustable. You can fish it in a high or low position depending on the weather or what you're wanting to do, if you're wanting to paddle a distance or fish. Also, one of the neat features of this boat is the junk drawer underneath the seat. Gives you a lot of room for storage for things you need to get to quickly. You can slide that right out and have a lot of things at hand really quick. I also use a Bending Branches Angler Pro paddle. Super light, very strong. Makes a big difference when you're trying to move a boat.
What does fishing mean to you?
Well, at least you didn't have a deep question. The fishing to me is first and foremost, it's just a chance to get out and enjoy God's creation. Peace and quiet on the water. I love trying to figure out where they're at, what they want. But most of all, just a chance to be out on the water, and especially in a group like this where you can enjoy the fellowship of good people and fellow anglers.
Oh, yeah, that's what it's all about right there.
You know, I've got so many good friends I never would have met if it hadn't been for kayak fishing.
Well, and I've said that quite often. Some of the best friends I have in my life, I've met on the water. I mean, great people.
Sure. That's how you and I met.
Oh, exactly. And we're very fortunate to have so many resources here to do what we like.
You bet.
So, I mean, we're really in God's country here.
It's just a great sport. There's really no age limit. I mean, we've got preteens all the way up to guys in their 60s fishing in our tournaments.
Very inclusive group.
And I mean, look at me. I'm no spring chicken, and I even get to cash a check every once in a while.
Oh, yeah. And the great thing about it too is we're such an inclusive group. We have women, we have kids, we have veterans.
A lot of veterans.
We've got some active military. We're very inclusive, and we welcome everybody to come fish in the Yak Bassing Series. Now, Mike, another question I've got for you is your sponsorship. Now, how are you setting for year 2021 coming into that year?
Well, right now I'm fishing for Team Bonafide, Team Yakattack, Elysian Fishing, which is my rod sponsor. Yeah. I get my rods from Elysian. Menace Baits, Tungsten. Woo makes a great tungsten product, an affordable product. And I also have, I'd like to put a plug in for Titan Built Construction.
Okay.
My brother runs Titan Built Construction back in Charlotte, North Carolina, and he pays my entry fees every year. He sends me money so that I can pay my entry fees and be able to do this.
That's an awesome brother right there.
That's you have no idea what a good brother I have.
That is awesome.
Yeah.
This has been brought to you today by Pacific Northwest Kayaks as well as AirPIX. If you want your adventure on film, whether it's in the air or on the ground, get with AirPIX. They do an amazing job. So come on and step out in the Pacific Northwest with us and just be you.